Paper has President Tinubu commissions Ushafa Buhari Area Council roads today. The Punch newspaper, above the masthead, says marketers snub Dangote's price cut, retain high fuel costs. The Nigerian News Direct, why lawmakers must stop incessant summon of oil companies. Heineken Lokpobiri says many summons are necessary, discouraging investments, orders NNPCL or NNPC Limited to meet 2 million barrel per day target. Blueprint newspaper, NNPCL rakes in 6.008 trillion naira revenue May. Oil output rises to 1.7 million barrels per day. Platform Times, CNPP's 75 CSOs demand Kyari's arrest. Public probe into 210 naira NNPCL scandal. The Guardian newspaper, 2027 Northern PDP leaders settle on ADC as preferred coalition platform. Daily Independent also speaks to politics of things. Atiku, Mark, Secondus, PDP bigwigs ask members, Nigerians, to join coalition. All right, Leadership newspaper says the same thing, coalition. APC unfazed as Atiku, Lamido quote PDP leaders. Next newspaper, which is This Nigeria. Depend on your brain, not artificial intelligence. Tinubu advises Nigerian students in St. Lucia. And the Sport Alive, 2008 Beijing Olympics. Mikel's agent offered me 50,000 euros to play for Nigeria. That's according to Siasia. Now I'll be doing this with my bevy of beauties, flanked here, with them. Veronica, Ria, and Olamide. You guys are welcome to, the conversation, I would say. All so right. If you look at the Nation newspaper, let's start off with it. So we've been talking about the inauguration of projects, talk about roads, talk about infrastructure. And then if you ask the minister and all of those that are doing the doings, so to speak, they'll tell you that they want to ensure that it contributes positively to the growth of this country economically. Absolutely.
That's the essence of having good roads, because when you look at the cost of food items and food inflation, you see that transportation also constitutes one of the reasons why there is food inflation. Yeah. And so if we have good network of roads, perhaps that would reduce, aside other factors on the road that contribute to the increase in prices of food items. So it is good that we are seeing these kinds of developments that will enhance our economy and better our economy. But at the end of the day, maintenance is also key, and also the fact that it means that successive administrations and successive governments that will take up this take over from this administration have a lot of work to do at ensuring that they sustain the tempo of all of this that we are seeing if other past administrations were unable to do so. It does make sense when you know that, yes, sir, my predecessor is doing something, and then the one who will be coming in next, it behoves the people to elect the right person into power so that they have continuity, because government, they say, is continual.
For me, I'm very excited about the infrastructure I'm saying. I love it, but I want it to continue even after elections have been won. I want it to be consistent. And then again, another thing I'll speak about is on social media, people are happy, infrastructure and everything, but I've said it on this table a lot of times, we also need to look at other things. Yeah. As opposed to roads, we're commissioning roads every day, it's good, it's beautiful, we're happy, we're seeing better roads will help in different things, but there are still a lot of things that Nigerians want that we also need to look at. So in as much as we celebrate this, we also have to talk about the fact that I said the other day, you cannot be hungry and be driving on the road. Some people don't even have cars to drive on the road, but we appreciate it because we know that when there are good roads, it helps the economy. But I also hope that the government will now start looking into other things to make the citizens okay.
Yeah, most definitely, but if you ask the government, they'll tell you that we're also doing other things in terms of agriculture. We saw the president commissioning 2,000 tractors, just recently, and then some other initiative they're bringing on the table to say, yes, we want a better Nigeria for our citizens.
Absolutely. I think that this Ushafa road is going to, of course, improve connectivity. There's a lot of transportation bottlenecks in that Buhari area council. As you guys know, I am from Abuja, and that road was previously untrackable. So I think infrastructure, especially when it comes to roads, is not just about laying tarmac. It's in the maintenance of these roads. So you don't just have something that was commissioned, and a few years down the line, there's poor drainage, there's just potholes everywhere. We have to make sure that we maintain this infrastructure. And I will say that we saw that the contractors yesterday were protesting in Abuja. I hope that, and I trust my president, that the contractors for this road has been paid, because lots of commissioning, no payment for contractors. I hope that people are being paid.
Right. On that aspect, I'd like to say that we have to be cautious, because we do not know who these contractors actually worked for, and if it is with the Minister of the FCT, they should have mentioned it while they were protesting. So because contract, it was just a blanket statement, so we cannot categorically say that they were contractors who are those working under this construction works that we are seeing being commissioned at the end of the day. So we need to situate things appropriately and ensure that if it is a particular ministry, these contractors mention their names, so we can direct our attention to those ministries, as against saying that having a blanket statement just be made like that.
Yeah, that's very thoughtful there. Now, Nigerian News Direct, let's talk about the oil industry. White lawmakers must stop incessant summon of oil companies. That's according to Lokpobiri, saying that many summons unnecessary, discouraging investment, orders NNPC Limited to meet 2 million barrels per day target. So there are people who are saddled with the responsibility of mining, refining, etc. And then the House of Assembly, the National Assembly, altogether will say, yes, we are playing our own oversight role. So we need you guys to come answer certain questions that are bordering on this sector. But you're saying that, no, stop calling us all the time.
Why would it do so? It's for accountability.
Exactly.
And I think that the House is not even doing enough, because this matters of corruption, if they were addressing the issues, we would not still be seeing and recording them from successive governments. How were they addressed in previous administrations? Who were those fingered? If nothing was done at the time, the next administration should take it up from there and address what was not done. That is how I feel investigations should be carried out and people brought to book. But where we keep seeing recurring issues of corruption, no transparency, here and there, accusations here and there, it means that something is not being done right and we are not getting to the root of the matter. So accountability is lost in the process. Then you are not doing your oversight function as accurately as you should.
So Ria,
but I'll add to what Veronica said. We cannot deny the fact that people often run away from accountability. When you want people to come and tell you how they spend this or how they did this, that's when they'll say they run away. And when it comes to, we're talking about NNPC, the corruption is just too much. We're still going to talk about something that I'm it's very crucial for me, because I really want to speak about that.
Talking about the oil?
No, when it comes to NNPC.
No, carry on.
It's just within the we see the corruption that happens there. Look at what is happening now. You know, the former EFCC president, Mel Carey, if I'm correct, he was
the former GMD of NNPCL.
You know, look at the amount of money.
Yeah, so you're referring to the story on the platform Times, where the CNPP, 75 CSOs, demand Carey's arrest, public probe into 210 trillion naira.
And I totally, Ibrahim, I'll tell you something. I totally agree with it. Just removing him alone, and I say this and I say it with my full chest, removing him alone is not enough. Because when you look at it from, I had to put the dates down to be right. So from 2017 to 2023, this is when this was happening. And look at the amount of monies that have been taken out. When we spoke about the book, when the book was written here, we spoke about the fact that, oh, they've written a book, look at the corruption that's happening. Now look at what is going on at the NNPC. The corruption is just too much. Yeah,
so that is not to say that Mele Kyari is guilty of all of the accusations or allegations.
But I know he's under probe.
Yeah, it is just a call to probe him, not just to sack him.
But we need accountability, actually.
Absolutely. So some will say that, when you talk about the NNPCL, now we have new leadership. The president is looking to overhaul the oil industry, now having new leadership there. But the thing is, when you say NNPCL and transparency, they cannot coexist in the same sentence.
They are not.
So we don't know where they are headed now.
Absolutely. 210 trillion naira is indeed a staggering figure. That is not small money. And it went missing under the watch, or was unaccountable for under the watch of Mele Kyari. We have to remember that. And a lot of times in probing the elite, in probing these big wigs and these top officials, we have to remember that it's more symbolic. So nothing might come out of it, but it's the symbolism of holding somebody accountable, no matter how powerful, no matter how big, if you will. And I think
just
that's
wanted
important.
to quickly, chime in on the issue of corrupt scandal, rocking the NNPCL. We're seeing new leadership, but things that had happened over the years, because Nigerians have had to pay through their nose or their nostrils. Let me just not say nose, because when you have to, we have two nostrils, and then it's very difficult for people to really breathe as a result of this.
Because this is where we get the chunk of our resources as a country. And if there is no accountability and we keep saying, okay, it's because some persons are refusing to be accountable, then we are not willing to tell ourselves the truth. Accountability is key, and we need to nip it in the bud, and it begins from the top. Yes, there is a new leadership, and they are perhaps trying to clean house, as they would often say.
It's a whole lot of work.
It's a whole lot of work for them. They have their work cut out for them, but they must get to the root of the matter and work hand in glove with the auditors to ensure that these persons are brought to book. We are still having matters of stolen crude oil. That's another matter. But then these issues need to be addressed from the top. Bring every person's to account. Nigerians deserve answers.
Absolutely.
And so, because this is our patrimony, we must address these matters as quickly as possible.
It's not enough for you to just sack him. He needs to be probed. I'm saying this again. I'm saying it again and again.
On top of that, we have illegal refineries, all around, spread across the Niger Delta. We also have, foreign nationals coming with their own vessels. When they take our oil or steal our oil, they get into the ocean, turn on the AES or the AIS, automated something, just for them to track the vessel, and then they'll disappear into thin air. They take it outside of the country, refine it, and come back to
But there must be an insider. Are you sure this is happening without it? Of course.
So that's why the call for probe is very, very significant at this point in time.
Absolutely.
Now let's get right into politics. The Guardian newspaper, Daily Independent as well, and then Leadership newspaper, they are talking about the political things happening. Veronica, I'll start with you. 2027, Northern PDP leaders have now settled on ADC as preferred coalition platform, and they're saying that Nigerians should also follow suit.
Of course.
Are you going?
You recall that when we had that interview yesterday.
Are you going?
Am I going? Oh no, I'm not a carrying member of any party at job. Don't move me further than this table. Anyway, I recall that yesterday when we had that interview, I was asking questions about why Atiku Abubakar was conspicuously absent from their 100th NEC meeting, and we see why now that he was moving with some other persons to coalesce and have this ADC as they have adopted it, because they say that since 2023 the party has not remained the same. The party kept going down, and they are blaming the APC for what is going on within the party. And so it is, I would want to see how far they intend to move with this, because shared interests, perhaps, I don't know, but it might be shared interests. But what is their political capital? Because we see a number of former governors part of this coalition. We see
former senators.
Yes, former senators being part of this coalition. Do they still have the social and political capital to be able to wield that influence? Yes, a lot of Nigerians are saying, yes, they want to be a part of it, whatever. But at the end of the day, in 2027, we would know, or in 2026, we would know how far these people can move to achieving what they want to achieve.
And then one thing is, when you have people who are forming a new party, the most interesting thing is that we are not seeing new faces. It's just a chip of the old block. Of the set of politicians that we're seeing, and then they're saying that Nigerians, you must vote them out. Okay, when you vote them out, what happens next?
You just sounded like a politician. You must vote them out. But I tell you something, and for me, I don't know why old faces are forming new parties. Rather, for me, I'll say make your party great.
You sounded like old wine in a new bottle.
Do you understand? Because you can make your party great rather than forming a new one. When you form the new one, what tells you that the way the other one went down, you would not go down like that? And when it comes to this ADC, I'm very shaky about it. Let's see if they can stand the test of time. Because I'm looking, do they really have the amount of people? They say people must follow them. You are not going to force people to follow you. Do people even still believe in these people? That's the question that should be asked.
And among them, Lamide is former River State Governor Rotimi Amechi, saying that he is hungry, and all of them are hungry. That's the way.
Hungry for food. Which one?
What are you hungry for?
But I will say that Northern PDP leaders, they do have their work cut out for them. The North is a region that has faced a lot of insecurity, a lot of poverty. It would be good to see them go from just regional bargaining and peddling themselves as Northern PDP leaders to actually focusing on the matters at hand in the Northern region. Let's see how you handle things there, and then we can talk about taking the country as a whole.
That's right. So they also say that indices of development have collapsed, life now hell in Nigeria. And one thing is that when we have these criticisms coming from the opposition party, they would say one thing: but they will not profile solutions.
At all.
Because we're talking about democracy. We want a better country. We want a country that yet will position itself globally. Now we're seeing the president going from one country to another, and we're having people from the opposition, especially a particular one among them, who always say that, okay, this night, this highest honor that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had received in St. Lucia, it's just nothing, just
You said that this was not mentioning him. Said this was not the right time for the president to be going to go and receive the national.
Talking about St. Lucia, I'm not going to mention names because I do not want trouble. But I heard someone say on TV yesterday that people are protesting in Abuja about schools, and our president is somewhere, giving scholarship. And I say it when it comes to people in opposition, they will say anything, but to make the way forward, that is what they don't know. Someone on TV once said, "I just want to get this particular party out," but not giving us a tangible reason why or what you would do if you are being put in power. That's my problem with opposition.
We have no idea the strategic relations that are going on between Nigeria and St. Lucia that we are not privy to. We have no idea the implications of our relationship with them right now in the world order. So we can't just say, "Oh, he went there on a holiday. He went there to receive a knighthood."
So,
but you know what they'll say?
But
they'll say
that's opposition's work. So I'm not even. That's their work. Their work is to criticize.
The reason I actually
point,
mentioned that is, we're seeing the gains of this bilateral relations with Brazil, India. We're seeing the investors coming in. We see people pledging, voting some amount of money, saying that yes, this is what we want to bring into the country. And when we are having foreign direct investment, which is now increasing, then we're having a better country in the long run. Veronica.
Well, from their perspective, they are not seeing things that way because their perspective will always remain their perspective, and they have a right to speak.
Absolutely.
So they can continue speaking, but who is at the helm of affairs? It is not them. Until they get to the helm of affairs and then they begin to do what the needful that will turn the country around in their own perspective, I am waiting to see. So, of course, they are free to speak. They may not want to proffer solutions because they are not at the helm, and so why should I give you ideas, even though the president actually, let me finish. Even though the president said that you are welcome to collaborate with me, but they are saying that no, we just want to criticize you. Of course, that is what we need in our democracy. Healthy competition, healthy speakings in terms of the opposition, putting pressure on those who are in power. Constructive is now subjective. If you see it as constructive, that's fine. If you do not see it as constructive, then it is your business. But at this point, it is important that the opposition put their acts together and not just speak, but do the needful. Unfortunately, PTB is suffering it, and they are beginning to speak, even though they are saying they are reconciling and doing the needful. But with this coalition, it might be weakening the PDP, and then they need to move forward.
Quickly, I just want to, counter to what Veronica said. We keep saying that because they are in opposition, they will not say the right thing to do. So at the end of the day, is it for selfish reasons or is it for the country to go better?
Well, that remains to be seen at the same time.
I think sometimes we are just focused on the very fact that there is opposition to the government that we say we do not like, that we don't really ask for solutions. But not the populace who ask for solutions.
For good governance.
Absolutely.
We just must be there as opposition, so figurehead. All right, then this Nigeria, the president is saying, depend on your brain, not artificial intelligence. Tinubu advises Nigerian students in St. Lucia, especially with the generative AI, in terms of AI helping you to write virtually everything, to the extent that AI itself is passing the highest level of examinations, Harvard University. Even professors, the creators of AI are saying that with this thing that we have created, is out of hand. Human beings will now become second most intelligent animal after AI.
And that's where we are headed right now. Everybody is using and no longer thinking with their minds. They have AI to help them. We are outsourcing the thinking aspect to AI. But then AI can enhance whatever it is you are doing. If you are able to think and then write something down, then it will improve upon it and all of it. So it depends on how you intend to use AI. If at the end of the day you become redundant because you were depending so much on AI, there will be a time when you are needed to think. But then Because you have depended so much on AI, then you would see the result.
And you know, there is an aspect of our brain, I've forgotten that particular part, where you need to always engage it. If you don't engage it, it becomes redundant. So much so that...
what you're referring to is the creation of new neural pathways.
Neural pathways.
Our brains constantly need to find new ways to solve problems, new ways to challenge
exactly.
itself.
And if you're not engaging it, it's just going to be dead.
Studies are actually showing, and predictions are showing, that in the next 20 years, our brain activity will reduce by over 30-something%. It means that the way that we are independently and creatively thinking right now, we are going to be unable to do so. But you know what I find so interesting is that we developed AI to help with our work, to help with our life, make life easier for us, right? We don't need so much brain power. But now, universities and other places are now, they've now developed technology to detect AI in essays, so you cannot use it.
You know, what I'm going to say something. I was telling people, I said, you need to put some respect on my name, because when we were in school and we graduated, we didn't use AI. We wrote those essays by ourselves. And I look at like some of the students we have now, you see, they put a topic, just put everything down, go and submit it like that. And it's funny, look at how now they're using technology to, you know, detect technology.
Absolutely.
No, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. You need technology to also check. So because the blueprint is there. So if you're not careful, if you look at deep fakes, if you look at synthetic media, the way these things are actually done, even you yourself, it will be very difficult for you to decipher or to detect what is real or what is not. In 2027, we are in for it big time. Because we've seen lots of fake news. Absolutely.
As an AI anchor, I pride myself on working in tandem with the AI.
AI anchors, you know. Are you guys real? All right, let's listen to the last one. This is talking about the Sporting Life, saying that 2008 Beijing Olympics, Mikel's agent offered me 50,000 euros to play for Nigeria. That's according to Siasia. We have many other stories here. I'm not sure which you'll find quite intriguing for you.
Well, Samson Siasia's story, of course, saying that Mikel Obi's agent at the time, because Mikel Obi was struggling and he needed to playing time, and he wanted to be on international platforms and also play international games. And so he said that his agent offered him 50,000 euros at the time, so that he can, you know, incorporate Mikel Obi. We've seen stories like this where people bribe their way into the team, and often the time a lot of persons will say that the number of persons that were brought in on board for the team that Nigeria takes to some of these international competitions bribed their way. They were not those that were necessarily handpicked based on their competence and merit. So at the end of the day, he coming to say this now, to what end is it? What does he want to achieve? That's the question I'm trying to ask. Are we going to start probing that matter to bring perhaps Mikel Obi to book? He and his agent, 2018 Olympics is gone. So
he's begging God for forgiveness. Maybe he said it so that God forgive him. But there's corruption everywhere, actually. But it's sad to see that he's coming out to say this at this particular point.
That's right. That's right. All right. That's about it. I understand that we need to race on now because of our time. Right. That's about it for the newspapers up for review this morning. Tomorrow will be another interesting day. But then, still ahead on TVC Breakfast, we'll discuss the Lagos State government's ban on single-use plastics. Find out more about this policy.